What's going on, guys? So today I am going to be covering all the major changes that are coming with the new update with the Oni and Yui. So I'm just covering some major changes and all that fun stuff. So this is the third video of the little series I did. The first two cover the Killer and the Survivor. So if you haven't seen those, go ahead and check those out. I'll leave a card in the top right hand corner for both of those. But let's go ahead and go into these big changes. The first big change, which is kind of obvious, is we are getting a new chapter which will feature Yui, Kimura, and the Oni as the killer, and then not to mention we are also getting a different version of the Yamoka estate. So that's some good stuff, but another big change, which is very important and I'm very excited about, is if you leave a game early, you will now face a temporary match ban, meaning you can't queue up right away. And then on top of it, if you are constantly DCing, you will face a much longer suspension. So I think that's very good. I am happy that they are finally doing this. It doesn't seem like it really happens that often, or if it does, it just seems quite rare. But it is very important just because not only are you, if you're a survivor, are you hurting your team by being one less person, where there's only three survivors, but also from the killer's point of view, they're losing, points, with hooking and the sacrifice and all of that. So I think all in all, it's going to be a very positive thing. I hope it turns out quite well because as you guys know, there is nothing more annoying than someone who constantly DCs, whether you are a survivor and or killer. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and go to our next set of changes. The next group of changes we are going to talk about are rank reset, updated killer perks, and protection hits. With the rank reset, you will reset by one rank crest color. So, for example, red ranks 1 through 4 will now be reset to rank 5, and then the purple ranks, which is 5 through 8, will reset to the green ranks, so on and so forth. So, no matter what color crest you are in, you will always be reset by one color at the end of the ranked season. Then the killer perks that have been updated with the undetectable status effect are Insidious, Beast of Prey, Dark Devotion, and Tinkerer. And then we go on to protection hits. They now trigger whenever you are close to an injured survivor, and once you're hit by an injured survivor, that counts as a protection hit. And now, once the killer is carrying a injured survivor or a downed survivor rather, if you take the hit, you then get points for the protection hit now. So all of that is some little changes to some ranks and then just some minor killer perk tweaks and all the protection hit stuff. But let's go ahead and go on to the new Legion changes. Alright, so let's go ahead and cover the Legion. They have quite a bit of changes, so let's go ahead and cover them. So the mend times have been reduced to 12 seconds if you mend yourself, and mending done by a teammate is reduced to 8 seconds. Attacking while in Feral Frenzy will no longer be considered a basic attack, meaning perks such as Save the Best for Last will no longer count towards that stack, which is it's a very unique change to say the least. But then they went ahead and increased Feral Frenzy speed from 5 meters a second to 5.2 meters a second. The Legion also has decreased vault duration from 1.1 seconds to 0.9 seconds. The Feral Frenzy pallet vault has been decreased as well from 1.35 seconds to 0.9 seconds. These changes are definitely going to be interesting to say the least. I I don't think it's really going to help him too much, but who knows? I just play games, but let's go ahead and go over to the spirit changes. Another big change that is coming with this update is the changing of the spirit and all that. So we are going to just quickly go over what is important as far as the changes with her. So they have removed a collision between the spirit and survivor whenever she is phase walking. This means she cannot run into a survivor when she uses her phase walk, so she cannot collide into the survivors or stop them in any way whenever she is phase walking, kind of like how you could previously. And then they also adjusted the speed curve for the spirit post phasing speed bonus to drop off gradually over time. Then they went ahead and restored the visible third person animation while vaulting. And then I know I really didn't cover this much on like the Legion really, but I thought it was really cool and interesting just to see like how they did it. But I'm going to talk about her add-on I'm actually quite impressed with. So the add-on is Prayer Beads Bracelet. So essentially what this does is it makes the spirit's phase walk global instead of removing the sound or making it where it's harder to find her essentially because it's so quiet. So now her phase walking noise can be heard throughout the whole map rather than it being silent, which I think it's a really good change just because in my opinion, I think that would keep survivors on their toes, and it's just a great way just to always keep them looking over their shoulder and all that fun stuff. So I am really excited about that change. It makes her super hard to detect, at least in my opinion. But let's go ahead and cover the changes to balance landing and all the other survivor perks. The last important thing with this update is the changes to balance landing, kindred, and no one left behind. They have changed balance landing to make it where if you are exhausted, you will now stagger. So essentially kind of what balance landing used to do. I'm sure you guys know, like whenever you would fall off a ledge or something, you would not be staggered. In this case, the way that they have changed it, they have made it to where if you're exhausted, you are going to be staggered, and it'll be almost like as if you didn't have it. And then the second change to it, it now has the additional function to muffle your grunts by 100% when not exhausted. So, for example, you know how your survivor will grunt whenever they fall? Now that is no longer the case. Now on to Kindred. Kindred shows all of the survivor's auras and the killer if they are within range of the survivor. So essentially, if you got Kindred, everyone can see everyone, and then obviously if the killer's camping, you know you got to pick and choose when to go ahead and go in for the save. And then the last perk we are going to cover is No One Left Behind. Okay, so once the exit gate is opened, you gain 50, 75, and 100. Now that goes all in tier lists, so from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So you get 50, 75, 100 more blood points for healing and unhooking other survivors. Healing and unhooking speed is increased by 30, 40, and 50%. So once again, that goes from tier 1, tier 2 to tier 3. And all of these survivors' auras are shown. So essentially, it's a great late game perk if you're trying to go back and save someone. Not to mention, if you want some extra blood points, there you go right there, while still being altruistic and being a team player. But that is all the changes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I had a lot of fun making it like I always do. I am really excited for this update. I cannot fucking wait. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. And also, if you want to check out my live streams, go ahead and go to Twitch, type in BDog47 Gaming. You'll see my logo right now. I am primarily streaming Dead by Daylight. And also, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.